Do you ever find yourself in the middle of a conversation searching for the right English word, but no matter how hard you try, you just can't remember it? You know the word, you've studied it, you've read it before, maybe even heard it in a movie, but at the moment you need it, it completely disappears from your mind. It's like your brain plays a trick on you. The word is there somewhere, but you just can't reach it. If this happens to you, trust me, you're not alone. Many English learners struggle with this exact problem. I know exactly how frustrating it feels because I have been in the same situation. I used to read English books, watch movies, and even practice vocabulary lists. But when I tried to have a real conversation, my mind would go blank. It wasn't just embarrassing, it made me doubt myself. Maybe my memory isn't good enough, I thought. Maybe I'll never be fluent, but over time, I realized something very important.
Do you want to master English? Our top-rated course covers grammar, speaking, pronunciation, and writing. Learn fast and speak with confidence. Link in the description.
Forgetting words is not a sign of a bad memory. It's simply a sign that those words have not been practiced enough in the right way. Think about how we remember things naturally. When we learn a new word in our native language, we don't just memorize it from a book and expect to use it perfectly. Instead, we hear it, we use it in different situations, we see it in different contexts, and slowly, it becomes part of our vocabulary. The same thing needs to happen when learning English. The problem is that most learners don't use English words enough in their daily lives. They might recognize the word when reading or listening, but they never practice actually saying it. I remember learning the word enthusiastic. I read it in a book, and I understood what it meant. But when I wanted to use it in conversation, I completely forgot it. It felt like the word had disappeared from my brain. Then I tried something different. Instead of just reading it and moving on, I started using it in my daily life. I said things like, I am enthusiastic about learning English. When I watched a movie and saw a character who was really excited about something, I said to myself, wow, that character is very enthusiastic. The more I used the word, the more natural it became. And suddenly, I never forgot it again. Speaking words out loud is one of the most powerful ways to remember them. When we only see a word in writing, we might understand it, but our brain doesn't form a strong connection with it. But when we say the word, our brain, tongue, and mouth all work together to create a deeper memory. I started practicing this technique every time I learned a new word. I would say the word 5 times out loud in different sentences. At first, it felt a little strange to talk to myself, but soon I noticed that words were sticking in my memory much better than before. Another trick that helped me was creating mental pictures and stories for new words. Our brains love stories, and we naturally remember things better when they are connected to emotions or images. For example, when I learned the word melancholy, instead of just memorizing melancholy means sadness, I created a mental picture. I imagined a cold, rainy day, sitting by the window with a cup of tea, feeling a little sad. That image stayed in my mind, and every time I heard the word melancholy, I instantly remembered its meaning. One of the biggest mistakes I made in the beginning was learning words once and expecting to remember them forever. But I learned that repetition is the key. The more times we see, hear, and use a word, the stronger our memory of it becomes. When I learned the word complicated, I didn't just read it once and forget about it. I used it in different ways over the next few days. This math problem is complicated. His relationship with his boss is complicated. Explaining grammar rules can be complicated. By using the word in different situations, my brain built stronger connections to it, and soon, it became a natural part of my vocabulary. Another powerful technique is something called spaced repetition. Instead of trying to learn too many words at once, I started reviewing words over time. If I learned a new word today, I would review it tomorrow, then in 3 days, then in a week. This method helps move words from short-term memory to long-term memory, making them much easier to recall when needed. Of course, nothing helped me more than real conversations. I know that speaking English with others can feel scary at first. I used to be terrified of making mistakes or forgetting words in the middle of a sentence. But when I finally pushed myself to join English speaking groups and language exchange programs, I realized something surprising. Most people don't care if you make mistakes. They just appreciate that you are trying. And the more I practiced speaking, the less I hesitated. Words that I used to forget suddenly started coming to me naturally because my brain had practiced retrieving them in real conversations. Another simple but effective habit I developed was listening to native speakers and repeating what they said. I would watch English TV shows and movies with subtitles, pause, and repeat sentences out loud. If I heard a new word, I didn't just listen, I spoke it. This helped me remember words much faster than just reading them in a book. I also learned to be patient with myself. At first, I expected to remember every word instantly. But the truth is, learning a language takes time. Even native speakers forget words sometimes. The key is to keep practicing and not get frustrated. The more I used these techniques, the easier it became. And then, something amazing happened. One day, I was having a conversation in English, and I realized I wasn't searching for words anymore. I wasn't stopping in the middle of my sentences to think. The words were just there. They came naturally without effort. And that was the moment I knew I had finally become fluent. I want you to imagine yourself 6 months from now. You're speaking English confidently, and the words come to you without hesitation. You don't feel stuck or frustrated. Instead, speaking English feels smooth and effortless. That future is possible, but it starts with what you do today. So, if you keep forgetting English words, don't worry. Start using these techniques and you will see a big difference. Speak out loud. Use new words in sentences. Make connections. Review them over time. And most importantly, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Every mistake is a step forward. Now, I have a challenge for you. Choose one new English word today and use it in 5 different sentences. Say them out loud. Leave a comment below and tell me what English word you struggled to remember the most. Let's practice together. And if this video helped you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new lesson. You've got this. Keep going, keep speaking, and soon you'll be the confident English speaker you've always wanted to be.